the first Mastermind Monday was, because we really should celebrate that and continue like a countdown of how many we've done, because we have been doing this for over a year, every Monday, 12 o'clock Eastern to 12:30, and featuring all kinds of amazing speakers. The first Monday of the month is typically done by our education chair, and that's a big speaker. The second Monday of the month, which is this Monday, is my choice as president panel. And the third Monday of the month is typically our member update. Next week, I know we have Vermont. Welcome to Vermont. But today, I am so super excited to introduce Monica Neubauer, who is a stranger probably to no one on this call. She is an RRC instructor extraordinaire. In many, many ways, she's certified to teach many of the courses that we offer at RRC. Monica is just a ball of energy and an amazing resource for all of us. But in particular, Monica has just completed a DISC training, but she's been using DISC analysis in her life and practice for many years, but so excited to be one of the first audiences ever to, can we have a drum roll? I'll do a drum roll. First audiences ever to have, and she's going to try and cram like a whole bunch of stuff into 30 minutes. I told her she could go a little bit over if she needed to, but thanks again to Christine McClellan, our IT professional, our VP of IT, and everyone else who's on the call today. I just can't wait. I don't want to take one more minute. Monica, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa, and everyone for having me today. I am indeed so excited to share with you about the DISC DISC profile. It is a passion of mine. Literally saved my marriage about 25, 26 years ago. And finally, I have gotten certified. And I'm so thrilled to bring to you today a section about DISC with a focus on sales and working with customers. That's my focus for our short session here today. But let me just see before we jump in by a raise of hands, or you can press your little reaction button there on your lower bar. Who is familiar with DISC? Okay, most of y'all. So those of you raised your hand, almost everybody, so you're a little familiar. How many of you have had your DISC profile done? You know what you are. Most of you too. All right, let me see a raise of hands here. How many of you are a D first? That's you're a high D. I got a few high Ds. All right, where's my high Is? Wave your hands because you're excited. Of course, Alice, there you are. I see my high Is. Yep. Where are my S's? Where's my, there you go. Thanks, Christine. You have to get a little more subdued. My S's, y'all are doing awesome here. And where's my C's who are gonna give me this kind of one? Oh, she's a bigger C over there. All right, so we mostly have D's and I's on our call. And let's talk about a little bit about ourselves in this position. And then we're gonna talk about it, how we work with our clients. That's the goal here. So since most of us do have some familiarity with DISC, I'm going to go through that part fairly quickly so we can talk about how we use that to connect better with our clients. All righty. Understanding your DISC sales style. All right. Now, as you watch this, you might see this in a little different format than you have seen before. I haven't seen it put in this way till I got certified, so I love to bring you maybe a little fresh perspective here. But think about, first of all, how you see yourself. Y'all kind of know who you are, but let's take a look at the top part there. We have the people who are fast-paced, and they're outspoken. Boom, they're throwing words out there all the time, and they're moving fast, and so it's like, will you just take a vacation? You know, just chill. You know, well, these people, they're moving and grooving. And then look down there at the bottom, we see the phrase cautious and reflective. Well, those people are not jumping in and throwing all their words out all the time right up there at the front. They're kind of taking a look at things a little bit, assessing things. And these are people who are reflective. These are our more contemplative people. Those ones, the fast-paced, not spoken, they do before they think. The cautious and reflective, they think before they do, okay? It's a little bit of a good share there. Now let's look at the ones on the left and the right. We have on the left, questioning and skeptical. Okay, they ask a lot of questions. They're not necessarily jumping in on board with everything. They want to make sure they understand things really well. And they're about the questions and understanding. And when you see the people on the right, they're accepting and warm. Now the people on the right, they tend to be very much about the people and the relationships, and they're going to hug you. These are the ones who are dying because they can't hug you right now. Or as soon as they get their shot, they're running in the room, hugging all their friends, right? So we kind of have these two quadrants like this that we do the disc with. And as you start seeing yourself there, you might see yourself in one of those, but likely you're going to see yourself in two of them. So let's take a look in this top corner here. If you're fast-paced and outspoken, but you're also questioning and skeptical, you have a lot of questions, what's going on, I want understanding, that's going to put you in the high D area, okay? And that is about results. I'm going to break that down a little bit more when we get to the end of this little section right here. And if you're a more accepting and warm person, but you're also really fast-paced and outspoken, boom, then you're an I, you're an influencer, okay? So the D stands for dominance, the I stands for influencer or influential. All right, and then if you find yourself in this lower quadrant right here, accepting and warm, and also cautious and reflective, you're in the S category for steady, stable. Okay, and these people, they're a little bit more reflective and taking a little bit more time, but they are also all about people and wanting to hang out and listen and talk to you and be about the people business. All right, now your high C is in the lower left quadrant here. That is C for cautious. Okay, and also compliance. They're very much our detail people. They are questioning and skeptical, and they have lots of questions, but they're also cautious and reflective. They're very, very much about accuracy in all of the details. And when we drive across bridges, we thank God for those people every time we drive across the bridge, okay? Because they got those details right. All right, let's take a look here at this overview of the DISC model. As people consider what category they're in, let's just kind of take a quick look through here. On the D side, you have dominance. Those people are direct, they're firm, they're strong-willed. They like to get their own way. They can be forceful, or they can be forceful. You know, it's not necessarily, right? All right, they are very results-oriented. That's very much what the Ds are about. It's got to get results. All right, the I, that's the influence category. This is your party people. All right. They are outgoing. They're enthusiastic. They do it all big. They're optimistic. They're high-spirited and lively. They're moving their bodies. They're talking a lot. Sometimes you want to go, this is what you are doing, and this is what I want you to do. Because they are talking a lot. All right, the S category we have, that is the steadiness section. And people who are high S are even-tempered. Oh, and sometimes we just need that, right? Those I's are going and going, and the D's are getting boom, 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 and the S's are like, whoa, hold on, hold on. So they're even-tempered, they're calmer. You could tell I'm not an S, right? Okay, we got that already. Accommodating, patient, humble, and tactful. And that's what I like to learn from the S's, because I'm not an S, but that tactful thing, they got that going on, and I need some of that. So I'm learning. All right, C, conscientious. Those people are analytical, reserved, precise. They are private. And actually, when you have the introvert and extrovert, it kind of runs between the I and the C. So C's are often introverts, not always, but often. And systematic. So all of these categories, and we don't necessarily fit in one all the time. We're usually a little closer to two of them or in between. So I work with the Wiley method, and they kind of give an example like this. You can see this little dot in the I section right there. Well, that dot puts this person firmly in the I category. So they're primarily an I, and they might have a little bit of D or a little bit of S that goes along with it. And see where the dot comes in the middle there? You can see it here. When the dot is closer to the center, people are going to have a little bit more of all the categories. They're going to be an I. They may not be the most out there I, right? And now we've got the moderate. You can see the dot in the middle, and then it can go all the way out to the end. Now, this is part of the value of actually doing a professional, having the full DISC profile done. It does give you more insight into yourself. But if you've taken a simple one somewhere or something online that was free or really inexpensive, I'm sure you got some good information. But when you do the full one like this, you know, in one of the professional companies, you can get a little bit more information about yourself. And this is one of the things, kind of how intense is your, and I will tell you this, people say, Monica, where do you get your energy? Well, my dot falls at the very top of this chart, right in between the D and the I at the top outer edge. So honestly, Monica, where do you get your energy? It was a gift. It's just there. So it is who I am. I come by it and use it well. Come by it naturally. So let's take a look here. This is the concept. We first have to find ourselves, which was what we've talked about. And you all know that. Most of you have done this. So keep learning about yourself and recognizing where are your strengths and where do you need to practice. Like I said, tact. You know, I needed to work on tact. I still always work on tact. So I'm connecting to myself, learning about myself, understanding this like 25 years ago or more, saved my marriage. I am a very high IDDI, and my husband is an SC. And so at that point, we were about to pull our hair out. We had a child. We were struggling in our roles. And we did this and was like, oh, that's why you're like that. Huh. And that's why you're like that. Well, maybe we should revisit a few things here. And so we just started discussing who we are and how we engage with each other. So if you have a partner or a spouse or even children and you haven't used this in your family, I would really encourage you to, because it's going to help you make a lot of sense and give you some new ways to communicate in your relationship. So I love doing it in family relationships, but in work environments, it's also amazing because then people go, oh, that's why you talk to me like that. Oh, that's why I don't understand you. Oh, okay. And things just kind of start clicking together. So let's put that context into recognizing and understand our customer buying styles, because we understand ourselves. So let's take a look at an easy way for us to look at our clients and consider what their style is and what that means. So we're going to find our customers. Now, what if our customers' needs were like these little thought bubbles popping up over their head? Oh, I need more data. Except that person wouldn't do their hands like this. They would go, I need more data. It would be very, you know, succinct there. You know, and then the other person says, relationships matter most to me. Please hear what I'm saying. Talk to me. Tell me a little bit about your story. What if the other one said, get to the point? That would be me. As much as I talk, I'm actually really a get to the point kind of person. So what if their little thought bubble said, please be patient with me? You know, if you're a high D or a high I and you are moving really fast through something and your client is an S or a C and their little bubble is, please be patient with me. I'm not understanding this as quickly as you're sharing it with me. What if this one comes up? And I think I put this one in on purpose. Will they see my competency? Okay, some of these groups care very much that you see them as competent, and at whatever learner level they are or however old they are, they want to be recognized for where they're competent. Will they see my competency? Okay, so these are their thought bubbles going on around them. All right, I want you to think right now of a couple of clients that you're working with and just jot down what you think they're, you know, 2 or 3 clients right now, just jot down what you think their profile might be, or even pick your hardest one and figure out what theirs might be.
Can I throw out a question, Monica?
Yeah, throw out a question.
So, as maybe is very often the case, there's a couple and
Right.
they are 2 different styles.
They so are.
Help me understand which to appeal to, or how that, or that, maybe we could answer that question at the end. But when you asked about the customer, I'm thinking of one just this morning, and I've definitely got 2 competing energies.
Totally. That's a great lead in. I'm going to go on and show you kind of how to pick those, but you're right. It's absolutely crucial to recognize their different ones, because if you've got one who's a high D, they're going to come in and they're going to walk through the house really quickly. They're ready to go and sitting by the front door. You know, they're moving on. Let's get going here. And the other person in the party might be a high S, and they're looking around the house and opening the doors and taking their time, and they're processing it and asking more questions. And so you definitely have two. And when we're working with them, we need to recognize what do each of them need to try and give each of them their thought bubble need. So let's take a look at a little quickie tool here to help you think about the customer, and then we'll answer a few questions and talk about that a little bit more. But this is a good tool for the people reading method. Okay, when you're observing either you're single, you know, one person, or you're observing two people together, or even a family member, you know, you might have the parents with a younger buyer or something like that. The first thing to notice is if they're fast-paced and outspoken. Like if I walk in a room, you know that about me immediately. I'm fast-paced, I'm talking, I'm a little bit loud. Okay, I'm a lot loud, my whole family's loud, okay. Or are they cautious and reflective? Are they a little bit quieter, kind of holding back a little bit? They're a little more observant to what's going on. They're not jumping in as quickly to anything. And when you're working with a couple, one of them's gonna start doing all the talking. And so then you need to observe, okay, if they're doing all the talking, they're fast paced probably. Is the other one cautious and reflective? Because you might have two and two. So, you know, make sure they're not necessarily always opposite, even though that's a thing. All right, the second thing, when we've got that other two, you know, that up and down quadrant that gives this way, questioning and skeptical, or accepting and warm. So are they jumping in, asking a lot of questions? They want to see the data, they want the facts, or are they asking you about your family and how has the business been? And I know the market's so crazy. Has that been, you know, has that been hard on you? So they're going to start being interested in you. If they're on that accepting and warm side, they're going to ask questions about you. Or they're also going to just really want to talk about themselves and how excited they are to get to know you, and how can I, you know, how can I get to know you? They might be a little more touchy-feely too. They want to touch you. So that's, again, another thing. And when you put those quadrants together, if you can just look at those two categories, fast-paced and outspoken, and cautious and reflective, questioning and skeptical, or accepting and warm, then you can put them into the DISC map, okay? So when you've got the high D, they're fast-paced, outspoken, and they are asking all those questions. They want to get results, and they want to know enough details to make a decision. The high D people are about making the decision, and they are, most often they will be the decision makers, but not always. Make no mistake, you know, the at-home influence, right? You know, what they call it, the bedroom influence. You know, don't think that a lesser spoken person doesn't have a good amount of influence, but your high D personalities will definitely have a loud voice in the decision. All right, and then if they are accepting and warm and fast pace, they're in the influence. They want to talk. They're usually about the decorating. They want to get all the information, how it relates to their family. Where can I play cards? What about the schools for my kids? You know, they're asking all those relationship-based questions. And then if they're accepting and warm, but they're also cautious and reflective, that's going to be your S. And honestly, your S's are going to, most of the time, not always, but they're going to most of the time be the ones speaking the least, okay? Because they're observing and they're taking it all in. And honestly, I'm gonna say this about the S's, I love them so much. The S's are honestly the most selfless personality. Okay, they are about how are you, we want to help you, and they're about letting the other voices in the room do what they want to do. I mean, they do tend to be like that, but make no mistake, their voices need to be heard. So if you have someone who is a high S and they're not asking a lot of questions, they're just being really polite, you want to make sure you draw them out. Okay, and how I do that with my customers, if I find out that I have a spouse who's not with me searching, especially if they're an S. I want to have a conversation with that spouse or that partner so that I can bring their needs into the transaction. Okay, we want to make sure we know what they like and they care about and that their voice is heard. And that's true about team building because they're observing a lot and they have some really great insights, but they don't always volunteer them. Okay. And on the other side, then we have the conscientious, the cautious and reflective, and questioning and skeptical. These people need data. All the time they need data. And so they will ask the questions, but they're going to be direct and a little bit blunt. And they're probably going to ask questions that you don't know the answer to. And quite frankly, you may not give a rip about. I'm going to tell you something about high C's. Now, in 2008, 9, 10, and 11, you guys remember 2008, 9, 10, and 11. Y'all are CRSs. A lot of you have been in this business for a long time. Well, literally, those people tend to save their money, right? And they tend to be frugal, not always, but the high C's, they were the ones who fed my family in 2008, 9, and 10. I mean, they were the ones that had the money and they moved at that time. And I was so grateful. And being a DI myself, I love the data and I have kind of a little tangent thing that cares about the data, but I'm not great at putting it together. So I love like RPR and all of this technology stuff that can give the data to the high C's. And I have learned to watch for what their needs are. And I am sending it to them either before or while they're asking questions. Yes, I can get that. Yes, I can provide this for you. How about if you take a look at this piece of software, we can get those stats for you. So I learn about where I can get all that data and I collect that so I can give it to them because I know they care about it. And some of them won't be able to make a decision without it. That's the category that can be the analysis paralysis category, and they like lots of data. All right, so let me kind of wrap up here with a few more things. Here's the customer's priorities, and y'all can take a little screenshot or a photo of this if you want, if you don't have these words in your concept. But like the DI at the top, they like action. So when I had the time wrong this morning and Lisa texted me, I was like, boom, here I am, done with that, upstairs, camera on, yeah, action, I got that, you know. So, and then you move over to the I, they care about enthusiasm and relationships, and the S's are about relationships, sincerity, and dependability. And then the C's, dependability, quality, and competency. And then the D's care about competency and results and action. So those are the things that people in those categories, those are their priorities and what they care about. So if I'm working with an S, I know they care that I'm sincere and I'm dependable and they want to be in a good relationship with me. So I'm attentive to how they're responding to me because I know that's what's important to them. All right. So then we're navigating to our customers. Let me tell you this little story just about cold calling. I have to like breathe because this stresses me out so much. When people cold call me, if you Google me, like seriously, my name is not common in this country. You can Google my name and I'll have like 5 pages. It is not hard to find out about me. I am not a secret agent and I am not a hidden persona. But I will get people cold calling me to ask me to join their team, to want to sell me software, to, I don't even know what this other person called me. You know, sometimes they call me and they think I'm with a brokerage firm that I've not been with for 12 years. Okay. I realize I've tried very hard to hide all, change all my stuff, but it's all still out there somewhere. And I'm like, I don't even know where you found me. If you had put my name in Google, you would have been able to give me something accurate. So here I am, a very high D. First of all, you're wasting my time by calling me, or you're emailing me. I'm just checking back in with you. And I'm like, and you deserve my time. Why? But then for them to waste my time thinking I'm somebody I'm not, they don't even know who I am. So tip there, when you're cold calling anybody, make sure you've got some good data, you know something about them, you have something specific. If you're door knocking, write down when people bought their houses or have some CMA information. Do not just go into something without doing research about a person. As a high D, I will shut you down. The very high I in me tries to not hang up on you, but that's just me being polite. right? So that's just kind of a story about how we relate to, how we relate to people. And I think probably some of my S's and C's, my husband is much more compassionate to people. So he just doesn't answer the phone because he knows he needs to be compassionate or answer the door or whatever. But being a real estate agent, I need to answer my phone. All right, so there's just a little story with that. So here's a couple tips for action planning to help us wrap up, and then I'll take a few questions. So remember, working with your clients, you want to recognize fast-paced and outspoken, or cautious and reflective, questioning and skeptical, accepting and warm, to get you into your 4 quadrants. And the application for us in that, because we always need to be the chameleon, all right? We're the one who needs to adapt and pay attention to that. So first, be about your style. Second, understand their style. Do, as Lisa was talking about, I'm looking at this couple, what are they? Take 10 minutes and think through their personality and try and give them that more bit of information so you can recognize it. And then adapt to their style. Like me, giving good data to my high C clients and being patient with them when they ask me questions that I could care less about. I know they care more about it. So adapt to their style and provide what they need in the way they need it. All right. All right, I'm going to wrap up with that, us providing what they need. And everything disc, I will say at the end, just as a by the way, just a little ad for myself. I did write a book about building your real estate business. So Straight Talk for Real Estate Success. You can find that at my website. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's ask a few questions. Who's got one?
All right, I got a million, so who's got some other questions? Please maybe raise your hand, or like raise your physical hand, or do a raise hand. Questions?
I just want to thank you for autographing my book.
If you buy it directly from me, I will autograph it, or at Celebration, I'll be autographing them there as well. So I'll see some of you there. We'll get back face to face and hugging. I got my shot today. I'm ready.
Excellent, excellent. So Monica, I was listening to a room in Clubhouse the other day that was really digging into DISC as well. And one of the things that they recommended was really taking a look at especially your listing presentations. I mean, we don't all get to do buyer consults as much as maybe we'd like to, but we all do listing presentations, whether we actually do it or we just leave it as a leave behind in some way, and really kind of finding a way to tailor a little bit about that listing presentation. Kind of seems like a lot of work, but maybe there's a page or two up front. Do you have any thoughts on that? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, you kind of just led with it there with a page or two up front. When I do a listing, packet information, especially if I know there's some detail focus there, now we could talk about if you want to put it in a book or you want to send it in an email or whatever, because when you do an RPR report or you do a cloud CMA report, sometimes you could end up with 50 or 75 pages in color. You may or may not want to print that out. So be selective about what you do want to print out. And that's going into, there are also generations there and stuff like that. But it's always good to provide access to the full the full report, the full set of information, all of that kind of thing, because somebody may want it. But I always encourage people to put an executive summary at the top. Do that 1-page summary of, this is my range, this is what's going to need to be done, this is what's happening in the market, because your high Ds are probably just going to read the executive summary. They may flip through some of the rest of it, or if they have one thing that they didn't quite understand. That's what high Ds do. They want to have access to the information, but they don't want to put it together, okay? Now, and when the eyes look at it, they want to see some pictures, they want to see the houses, they want to understand what the features are. And so the details are in there. They may not want to dig for it. So they're going to flip through it, and then they're going to call you and say, now, tell me which one of these neighborhoods have the best pools and the swim team. Do you know about that? So they'll flip through it. They'll be glad you did it, but they still care about the call. Your S's and C's will look through the whole thing. Now, see, Christine, yep. Now, the S's may not pay quite as much attention, but they care that it's there and they want to see it, and they are glad that you did that for them. They feel seen with that because they're about putting together information. And the C's, if you don't do it at all in this data age, when they can go to Zillow or Realtor.com or any of those places, and you didn't even give them any detail, those people are going to be like, I need another realtor. You know, if they can't get online, because they can find that data online. And so if you can't find it online, see you, bye. So those are kind of what they need. So I still provide more information than they need, because one of the things that I personally dislike is when somebody calls me and asks me a question that I feel like I should have answered for them already. So even if it's in their packet and they call and ask me, I can say, oh yeah, and I give them the answer and I say, oh, if you need some more information, it's in that packet that I sent you. You know, drive them back there so they'll look at it.
So two things. One is, I know Kurt Thompson had his hand raised. Number two, Monica, would you please put your contact info into chat so people can reach out to you personally on a million things? Go ahead, Kurt.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you, Monica, for all that outstanding information today. The DISC is such an incredible tool to use going into a listing presentation. Question for you. Are you doing anything in terms of the pre-meeting or in terms of the pre-information surveys or anything else to determine DISC? Or are you primarily determining DISC based off of your phone communications or other things when you're in person with that client or that set of clients?
Me, because I've been such a DISC fan, I'm an Enneagram fan, Myers-Briggs, I work with all of them. So I generally do it just as a second nature kind of thing. And I'm looking for those few key high points that I can meet. And the other thing is, I know I'm always going to send out more data than they want, except for the C's. I'm making them happy. And the others are going, well, at least she's got that. I don't care about it, but they, you know, so I know I'm over marketing at the beginning. I would not discourage you from asking a few questions. I know that in our community, Drees Builders, they for years had a short questionnaire that helped them discern the DISC profile for their buyers, and it would help them cater to their needs. If you're doing that, you know, my thought processes in that is to put something in there, say, I'd like to, you want to set some context for the question so they don't feel too odd, you know, but I'd like to understand a few points of communication for you. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you could probably just put in there 4 or 5 questions and also say, I prefer email, you know, 5 or 6 questions even that could get you to a little bit of their personality type and how they like to communicate. And if you do that, you know, onboarding form, most people will answer that stuff. I wouldn't make it required. You know, I wouldn't make it a required slot. I'd let it be optional. And honestly, if they don't fill it out, that's another sign about them. They're probably not a high I. The high I's are just going to go, tick, 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 tick. That was fun. I look forward to meeting this person. I'm so glad they asked me so many interesting questions. Right?
Perfect. Thank you, Monica.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kurt.
That's such great information, Monica. Thank you so much. We're a little bit past our witching hour, so I will sign off. Very excited. Next week, we will be featuring Vermont in our member update. And
no, I think we're skipping next week. It's the 26th.
Because next week is school vacation and Patriots Day. That we're all taking the day off, I'm sure, and doing nothing and not working. So we are the 26th. Thank you so much, Christine, for reminding me, because people will be looking for the link at 12 o'clock next week, no matter how many times we say we're not doing it. And then I'm not sure about the first week of the month in May, but I just booked Brian Copeland for the second week in May, and we're going to be doing some real kind of down and dirty multiple offer magic. Brian is rather outspoken on the topic of multiple offers, and I saw kind of I will call it a rant that he did last week, and was just really impressed with his presence, and he's such an amazing resource anyway. So he is booked in for the 10th. Thanks again, Monica. This has been so invaluable. We love you. Can't wait to see you in Tahoe also. And thanks everybody for joining us again this week. We look forward, have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday. No, the 26th. Take care.